How's it going? And welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Keeley Eccos. It's a tape delay simulator and a looper in one pedal. It's an amazing pedal. Before we get into this, I'll ask you to please like and subscribe like I always do. Hit the notification bell so you can be kept up to date every time I put out a new video. And before we get into the demo of this pedal, I wanted to just say sorry to my regular watchers and subscribers that I haven't put a video out in 4 weeks. I've been extremely busy with my band, Kampala, who, if you don't know about them, you can check them up here. We've been recording, releasing, and gigging a good bit in the last 2 months, and it kind of came to a head in the last 4 weeks. And I've had a vacation too, which was great. The Keeley Eccos. So this is the Keeley Eccos, folks, and it is as I mentioned, it's a delay pedal basically. That's a tape delay emulator and a looper in one. So I guess the first thing we should do is have a listen to it in the track. So here you go. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is just throw a few photographs up on screen and show you the different features of this pedal. Okay, so as you can see, it's got 2 switches and 5 knobs. The switches are basically a bypass and a tap tempo. So that bypass turns on the delay, tap tempo taps in the tempo of the repeats. And then the knobs, you have time, blend, feedback, rate, and depth. Time is obviously the same as tap tempo. It controls the length of time between the intervals. Feedback is the number of repeats. Blend is how loud the repeats are compared to the original signal. Rate is the speed of the modulation, and depth is the depth of the modulation. All of these knobs have a secondary function, right? So basically the majority of those secondary functions control the nature of the modulation. So when you hold down the feedback knob and turn any of the other 4 knobs, they get a secondary function. So the blend knob, for example, moves between vibrato and tremolo, or vibrato and flanger. The manual knob controls the manual rate of the flanger. The tone controls the brightness or darkness of the actual repeats themselves. And then the regeneration knob controls the regeneration of the flanger. Then there's a mode switch in the middle that goes between delay, looper, and then it also acts as a status indicator. So basically you can use that switch to switch between different intervals of delay assigned to the tap tempo if you hold down the feedback switch. And then on the sides you have mono in, mono out, stereo in, stereo out. So it's a true stereo pedal. You've got a TRS expression pedal jack to plug in an expression pedal, control parameters, and then there's also the ability to control this pedal remotely with a external switch. And then on the other side, it's just the mono in and stereo in, and it runs on 9 volts of DC power. So this is an amazing pedal. As I think this is my 3rd Robert Keeley pedal ever, and he just makes amazing stuff. It's always compact. It's always really well thought out. The functionality in them is just brilliant, and like the 4 jacks on the side, the expression pedal jack and the external TRS switching is just fantastic. The sounds of it are immense. If you like a modulated delay and a tape style delay, or with I kind of think with the tone knob, you can make it sound like just a regular analog delay as well. Like it can do memory man kind of sounds with the vibrato and the dullness of the repeats, or then it can do tape sounds with brighter repeats and flanger modulation. Amazing delay pedal. So compact and just usable in so many different applications. And then also there's a looper on board. And then also you can turn the delay time down really low and use it as a modulation pedal with the flanger and the vibrato. And also there's 3 presets, so you could set up like a slapback delay, a modulated delay, and then a clean analog sounding delay, and switch between them on the fly as well. It's just an amazing piece of kit. I think I picked this up for €180. I think they're about €300 now, maybe even more. I'll stick a link for the Thomann link to it in the description of the video. Yeah, so amazingly impressed. So I guess let's have a listen to it now. Okay, so as always, I'm going to demo the pedal using the Koch Studiotone 20 head. A slight difference, as I normally would, is I'm actually using the pedal through the effects loop because I'm just going to use the amp for clean and distortion. I'm playing my Epiphone Casino Coupe, which has had new pickups fitted to it. Bridge sounds like that. Let's turn off the pedal first of all. Bridge. It's a very small amount of reverb coming from the amplifier. Middle. It's a little bit dirty. Back. Neck, sorry. So bridge. And the volume roll down a little bit in the bridge. So the amp is set a little bit dirty. So this is a really extensive pedal. This demo is going to take a while, there's no way around it. I want to show the full capability of it. So starting off, I'm just going to turn the pedal on. You can hear that tape delay thing. Okay, so the simple controls on the top first of all are you can control the time, so I can make the time longer. Control the blend to make the delay repeats louder. Right up to unity, or even louder than unity. Okay, you have the feedback, which is obviously the number of repeats. Or I can bring it down to 1 repeat by putting it to minimum. Or then obviously I can put it into endless repeats. And you can hear how the delay degrades as I do that. Okay. And then there is the modulation. So right now I have the modulation slightly on. I'm going to turn the modulation completely off. No modulation. So it's just a delay repeat that degrades each time. Okay. Then I can wind in the speed and the depth of the modulation to modulate those repeats. It's set to vibrato. Really gorgeous today. And in that way, it's pretty standard fair delay pedal, right? Well, not really. I suppose it's a modulated delay pedal with the capacity to turn the modulation on and off. So the first thing I'm going to do is show the secondary function of the knobs, right? So I can darken or lighten the delay. So if I put this tone knob, by holding this center knob, the feedback knob, if I put the tone or the rate knob, which secondary function is delay repeat tone, to the bottom, it gets much darker, which is really useful. Like a DM2 analog delay kind of thing. I can make that a little bit brighter. Because you can add that kind of pad of modulation behind you. But because the repeats are dark, it doesn't kind of get in the way. Whereas if I then wind that back up to be a very bright repeat, it's a totally different thing. Such a useful control, really, really brilliant. And then the next one is the manual. Okay, so if I bring the rate up a little bit, this is, and bring the modulation over to flanger. So the manual is, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's control of the flanger. So if I bring the manual down, I think it's the depth maybe. That's the manual low and the manual high. Oh, it kind of gives it that comb filtering kind of effect. Interesting. But the manual lowish. And then the blend doubles as the either choice between vibrato or flanger. So over here it's flanger. And over here becomes vibrato. You can hear that there. And then the last knob is the regeneration. And again, you're getting into flanger controls that I'm not completely au fait with, but putting the regeneration on full, it feeds the signal back into itself, I think. So there is the different controls of that you can control the modulation with. So I'm just going to set it back to kind of where I want it. That's nice. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is presets. So how you do this is there's 3 presets in the pedal. I have one selected here at the moment, but if you double tap, you can, on the bypass switch, you can then cycle through which preset you want to select. So in this case, I want to select preset 1. I simply double tap and I'm in preset 1. So I set up this preset, this speed with this modulation, this blend and stuff like that to be, it's going to switch to the dirty channel on the amp. Give me 1 sec. So this is the dirty channel. So I set it up for like a lead delay sound. So that's no modulation, quite a fast speed. Quite a fast speed and maybe 2 or 3 repeats. Yeah. Okay, so the next preset, switching back to the clean channel. Again, double tap, move to number 2, double tap again, you're in preset 2. Turn it on. It's a very, very vibrato modulated delay for that. Does that memory man thing. I might dial the rate back on that a little bit. Okay, and then the third preset I set up was a slapback. You can just hear it there. Slapback. So you can see you can store 3 presets, so I can do entirely different things really easily, which is a really great practical use for it. You can put this on the board really quickly, switch between which preset you think is appropriate for each song, and I think in that way it could work really, really well. And then the last thing I want to demonstrate, I'm not going to go into the looper. I'm not a big looper user. It's not why I bought it. But there is a capacity here to take an external foot switch, which I have here, and both turn it on and off remotely, and turn it off remotely, and also control the tap remotely. So if I go back to a different, actually I'll turn off the presets. So now the presets are off, it's in manual mode. I can turn to bypass it remotely, so you can see here I have to switch my hand, and you can see on the pedal cam I'm bypassing it, and I can tap in the tempo. So you can control those two things. Now, why that's really useful is you can put this on a board with a loop switcher in it, and you wouldn't have to put it in a loop. So you could put it wherever you wanted in your chain. You could turn it on and off remotely with a remote switching jack out of that loop switcher, and then you could control the tap tempo with the loop switcher as well. So, or else you could literally put this pedal at the back of your board and have these two controls right at the front of your board if that was, ergonomically helpful for you. So you can also plug in an expression pedal and control things with an expression pedal. And it's also stereo in, stereo out. I'm using it in mono at the moment, but I think you can see it's a beautiful sounding and really, really well featured delay pedal. So there you go, Keeley Eccos. I think, I'm going to make a video, right? Just on a little side note. I think if I had this plugged into the effects loop of my Koch Studio Tone 20 head, and maybe one guitar, I'm going to make a video about the simplest rig I could use. So one head, one pedal, or one amp, one pedal, and one guitar. And I actually think this plugged into the effects loop of that amplifier, I could do pretty much anything I needed to do. It would be a watered down version compared to my big pedal board, but this is an incredibly powerful, tiny pedal that can do so much different stuff. And you can access that stuff reasonably easily, considering it's such a small stomp box. And there's no MIDI, but there is external switching, which just makes the possibilities that this contains within it really amazing. The sounds are, obviously it's Robert Keeley, the sounds are really authentic and inspiring. And I've just been really, really impressed by it. So, nice one, Keeley. So, as always, if you've gotten this far, I say thank you very, very much for watching. If you have any comments about the pedal, throw them in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to chat about it. And if you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And I guess that's it, and I'll see you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.